Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have a lot of exciting sessions about automation, engineering, supply chain and procurement, and many more. Make sure to download the VFast app on your mobile phone, which allows you to join our sessions much easier anywhere you are. So with that, chill for a few minutes and watch our videos for exciting reminders before we begin the session very shortly. See you later. All right, so it's 3 p.m. All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Building the Digital Factory of the Future and the Role of an Engineer at Nestlé. I am Yi Hong from Nestlé Malaysia, and I will be your host for this session. I'm sure many of you has been attending the sessions for the past 2 days and have been hearing the house rules for the past 2 days. But allow me to just reiterate some of the house rules to ensure a smooth flowing session today. So do keep an eye on the chat box and make sure not to flood it with spam. Okay, this is to make sure that you can catch important announcements and links on how you can engage with us via slido.com. And also keep your mobile phones on standby to scan the QR codes on the top corner of the slides. So for you to see career opportunities in technical, production, and engineering across the Nestlé markets around the globe. Great, so let's begin our session. Allow me to introduce our inspiring keynote speakers for today. Hashmukh Pinder, also known as Hutch, Nabil El Busrati, Pierre Capellani, Christian Fernandez, and Kamran Jeffrey. All 5 of our speakers currently hold roles of a head of engineering in their respective zones and markets and have a vast network of experience in various engineering functions at Nestlé. I'm so excited to learn from our fellow engineers here about the role of engineering within Nestlé and how digitalizations within this role is an important enabler for our manufacturing as we accelerate in our journey to be an agile, efficient, and competitive company. With that, engineers, the floor is yours. Woo! Over to you, Hutch.
Thank you. Thank you, Yihong, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. For our audience, just give me a minute as I progress the slide. Okay. So again, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session on building the digital factory of the future and the role of an engineer in this respect. I'm sure you all have been involved in the other session with Howard Baker, where we shared with you what was the strategies of our company in this regard of building a digital factory of the future, what are the elements we are looking at. And you will also have a session later about what is the competitive edge that engineers bring within this space. For our session today, I think it'll be important to understand what is the role of the engineer at Nestlé in this regard, and how do we help and aid this journey of Nestlé in building the digital factory of the future. So to start, it's important first to understand, what does an engineer do in Nestlé? Now, I get these questions many times when I go to many different career fairs, and people get very surprised to hear about engineers in Nestlé, and Nestlé is a food company. So it's important to understand that Nestlé engineers in Nestlé have quite a broad footprint, and we support the company vision in many ways. Yeah. First of which is to make sure that we can provide, in line with our vision, enough nutritious food, grown and manufactured sustainably for our consumers. In this regard, we need to make sure that our operations are efficient. Yeah, the way we run our lines, the way we run our plants are efficient, and that's a key role an engineer plays. As well as we need to make sure that we have capacity to grow, right? So we need to build new manufacturing sites, new assets, to make sure that we are in tandem with what is required by our consumers. And while doing this important part about in delivering our products to our customers, we need to make sure that we are doing it in a way that we advance the health of our planet, right? We need to make sure that we protect the environment and we play our role as a responsible corporate citizen in this regard. And here, the engineers play an important role to conserve our natural resources, right? And this is everything from fossil fuels that we use today in our operations to the indirect source, which is the electricity. And how do we make sure that where we have this usage, we use it responsibly, and we are able to move to a more sustainable source. In doing all this, we also need to make sure that we can unleash the possibilities through the different technologies that are available out there. And engineers play an important role here to make sure that we can innovate with technology bring the new technology to the forefront, both making sure that we respect our social responsibility, environment, and everything else that we need to do with this technology, while we are able to innovate for our consumers. And this is all done through having a collective set of highly capable people, highly diverse population of engineers that can help deliver this. And at the center of this, the core function of an engineer is to make sure that while doing all these activities, we are fully compliant in safety and quality in meeting these needs. So that, in a way, captures what is the role of an engineer in a broad brush to explain what an engineer does in Nestlé. Now, if we look at then the footprint of an engineer, it's important to understand also then what's the magnitude or the span that an engineer interacts in the company. To start with, we have a footprint of almost 1.5 billion Swiss franc in maintenance that we manage. This is the upkeep of our lines, making sure that these lines are able to operate efficiently and are able to deliver the right product at the right time. At the same time, in all of this, we are managing some 2.7 billion Swiss francs of assets. We need to make sure that these assets are available in the right place for right use, and how do we deploy these assets in the different areas. We are also managing some 1.2 billion in energy. As I mentioned earlier, we are using both fossil fuel as a direct source of energy, as well as indirect source to electricity. We need to make sure that this energy, which is a very scarce resource, as you can truly appreciate in the current context, is managed efficiently, and that we can also be on our journey to be on a sustainable source of supply for this energy. We are also managing some 6.2 billion Swiss franc of capital investment. This is to build new lines, new factories, new sites, and that is all done by engineers. This entire footprint is managed by some 16,000 engineers today in Nestlé. So there is quite a big ecosystem of engineers within Nestlé to drive the ambition that we have. Now, understanding then the role of Nestlé in a brief way, and also the footprint of Nestlé, it'll be good to understand how this is interacting within the marketplace, in the different markets that we have. So here, maybe as a first thought, I will go over to Japan with Pierre on how the digital factory of the future fits within the engineering objective of Nestlé. Pierre, maybe over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Hutch, and hello to each and every participant. Thank you for being with us today. So at high level, digital is a key enabler to help us build a more engaged, capable, digital savvy and resilient engineering community. And I have laid out on the slide 5 bullet points here that I would like to take the audience through to explain how we do that and give some examples. So the first point, Nestlé, we have been using computerized maintenance management system for quite many years now. But a couple of years ago, we moved to a mobile solution where our technicians on the shop floor can access plant maintenance documentation on a phone or on a tablet. They can get their spare parts through the tablet. They can manage all transactions required to perform their job. It allows them to be more autonomous, and it provides them with more time for anticipating and planning. The second point I have on the slide is we have recently implementing more and more predictive maintenance tools that help us monitor important parameters to anticipate the failure of an equipment. Examples will be online vibration monitoring for motors or temperature measurement inside key electrical panels. We actually want to be informed before an equipment breaks down. And here again, the technology helps the work of our people on the shop floor. It is better for them to take a preventive action than to repair damaged equipment. There is no doubt about this. The point number 3 is on the manufacturing side. We are deploying multiple smart process control systems that help us optimize the way we run production lines in order to improve the reliability of the process, the quality of the product we make, and here again to simplify the tasks of the operator that they have to perform on site. The time we save, it can be reinvested into more added value activities for our operators. The tools we are using are getting smarter and smarter at a very quick pace, and we start already talking now about intelligent machines, which combine people automation and AI, and this helps us to run our plants better. The fourth point I have on the slide is about real-time energy and water usage monitoring. This is happening now, and my colleague Christian will tell you a bit more later. So I jump to number 5, which is about digital and remote support. And here I would like to talk and share a real case situation that we faced in Japan recently. Last year, we installed and we had to start a new aseptic line for coffee in PET bottles, about that size of bottle. At that time, this is COVID, Japanese borders are closed. It is not possible to bring to Japan all the specialists that we need to assist in the commissioning. You have to know that aseptic process is quite critical. It requires a lot of detailed task assessment and validation before we can start commercial production. And at that time, our suppliers, our own experts in Switzerland and in the US, they tell us that it's not possible to support remotely. They must be on site. It has never been done in the past to start a new aseptic line remotely. So we end up stuck. We have nothing to do. The borders will not reopen. We don't know when they might reopen. Maybe it would take more than a year. And this is not possible. We need the additional capacity to supply our consumers with coffee. So finally, we put in place a solid remote assistance plan supported by collaborative digital tools. We mobilized a lot of engineers from our 3 factories in Japan. They will be the feet on the ground, and they are supported remotely by vendors and colleagues located all around the world, as you can see on the map. And at the end, it was quite an exceptional adventure. It was a success, which honestly could never have taken place 5 years ago because the technologies just didn't exist. And for all of us, it's been a very radical change of mindset. And the funny thing is now this is becoming a new standard. Our suppliers and Nestlé are looking more and more into remote commissioning, remote assistance. And remote assistance is now widely used in our existing factories throughout the world for training of operators and technicians, for troubleshooting, for maintenance support, where a technician is sitting in Germany supporting our operators on the line. Back to you, Etch.
Thank you, Pierre. I think it was very interesting the sharing that you did, how digital today is playing a role in the different areas within the engineering collaboration of our company. And what was good was to see this example of how this entire ecosystem could be brought together, right? It was fantastic to see how digital tools came to the fore. And with these digital tools, we managed to make what traditionally was thought to be an impossible task happen today as a matter of routine in most of our projects. So thank you and well done to Japan here in this regard. Yeah. So if we go on then and we look at the digital factory of the future, a question we will also need to answer would be about how this would fit within the future of our role of the engineers within Nestlé. I'm just trying to move the slides. Give me a minute. Maybe Nabil, you want to start on this while I get the slides to move. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot, Hatch, and good morning and good afternoon to all our listeners around the world. Definitely, Hatch, digital factory or smart manufacturing in general brings endless opportunities, and we are just tapping the surface. But at the same time, it comes with its own set of challenges that need to be understood, anticipated. Now, and most of these challenges, unfortunately, will be in uncharted waters. So we have to be a little bit very careful. If I have to identify just 2 areas where we should intensify our investment and our focus, it would be IT infrastructure and people. Now, when we talk about IT infrastructure, it starts with a solid and robust Wi-Fi and systems. And these Wi-Fi and infrastructure should be modular, expandable, and upgradable. And each and every node of the network should be protected against external attacks and data misuse. Now, on the other hand, we have also another part, which is the user interface. The user interface should be easy to use and fit for purpose. It should be adapted to the user, regardless where that user is in the organization. These tools should help our people to take the right decisions quickly and swiftly. Now, talking about the people, as you know, Hutch, people are the most valuable asset in our organization, and investing in their competencies should continue to be our top priority. Now, I always considered Nestlé to be the fountain of knowledge. We should ensure to continue in the era of the Industry 4.0 to be again and still the fountain of knowledge. Now, if I have to look at it from a different angle, for the digital factory, it starts with a better connected employee. Now, what does it mean, better connected employee? Better connected employee does not mean that we have the most sophisticated IIs and predictive analytical tools available. But most importantly, better connected employee should be meaning that our teams in the operations in each and every step of the manufacturing should have the right level of qualifications and the right knowledge and the right competencies to take the right decisions. And this will be through enhanced competencies. In the meantime, we should also adapt our competency building and knowledge transfer to meet the expectations and the aspirations of the younger generations. What used to take me in our generation years to master as a skill or a knowledge should take only months. And this is thanks to the digital tools available. We should also capitalize on the agility and the high level of agility of the younger generation. And this, we are blessed with these high agility. So we should adapt the structure, we should adapt the talent management, we should adapt as well the knowledge to meet the expectations of these highly agile younger generation. And all of this should be very malleable. But agility as well means that we should have rapid execution followed by immediate feedbacks, and we continue to be on the top of things. And this again will be very helpful with the digital tools. Now, again, with the younger generations, we should be aware that what I call it the generational differences. In our shop floor, in our factories and operation, we will have different generations working together, and their digital dexterity will vary from one generation to another, and to a certain extent within the same generation. So we should also capitalize on the younger generation to demystify the digital tools. And hence, by demystifying the digital tools, we will be in a position to enhance the benefits and diffuse the fears among the other less digital savvy or with less technical or high new technologies dexterity. For the digital factory, we should, in order for it to be successful, it should be business-led and consumer-centric. It has to bring value to the business, while in the meantime, it should be consumer-centric, where it should enhance the trust of the consumers in our product. Now, last but not least, the digital journey should not be considered as an IT project. Otherwise, it will be doomed to fail. The digital journey is something that has to be considered as an enabler for competitiveness, where everyone should be involved. Now, last but not least, I think we all heard, or some of us have heard, the new term that has been coined by Clive Hamby, which is that data is the new oil. While I definitely agree with the statement, however, as for oil, we should be very careful. Just without knowing what are the consumers of that oil, without knowing that whether we have the right refineries for that oil, just continuing to extract the oil will lead to a major environmental disaster. And the same thing should be considered for the data. So it has to be fit for the purpose, and we should know exactly what should we do with that data. Now, and I will leave you with this just a very, very short note. Data alone does not drive the organization. Decisions do, and decisions are taken by the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabil. Well put. I think was the very key points that I wanted to just capture from what you mentioned is about the IT infrastructure. I think it was very important. While we look at digital and we look at the space that digital is going to take us in the future, we need to make sure that the IT infrastructure is robust, is in a way secure, so that we can make sure that it enables us and doesn't handicap us. What is also interesting was how you touched on competency development and the people being at the core, and how we need to make sure that it is business-led and consumer-centric, right? It's not digital for the sake of being digital. It's digital to meet the business need and the consumer customer requirement. And I think the last point about how to be responsible with data. Thank you for this, Nabil. I think was a very important sharing as well. Now, on this note, it'll be important to understand then what is the footprint of Nestlé engineers with regards to what we just spoke about. So, if you remember earlier in the slides that I spoke about the need where or how Nestlé engineers in Nestlé interact with different areas in terms of maintenance, in terms of capital investment, in terms of our asset base and of energy. Now, in this regard, we also have an ambition within Nestlé of where we need to go.
Sorry, Hutch, you are muted.
Okay, sorry, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
All right. So I think what will be important here is to understand then the ambition and where Nestlé wants to go. We have three key pillars here for the engineers within Nestlé. The first one is around sustainability and our commitments in this regard as a corporate citizen of the world. Here we have very important ambitions that we have set for ourselves, and we want to meet in these ambitions few key elements. The first one is that we want to have a net zero carbon footprint as an organization. Engineers play a very important role here because we need to make sure that our manufacturing facilities can achieve this ambition. We also have a water reduction ambition. We need to make sure that our water resource is used responsibly, and at the same time, we can be on a journey to reduce our water footprint. We want to make sure that 100% of our electricity is coming from renewable source, and that we have set ourselves a very short-term ambition of doing that by 2025. And we want to make sure that in terms of plastics, we are on a journey of sustainable development of packaging and sustainable use of packaging, renewable in this sense. If I look at then, the second part is about diversity and inclusivity. Here we want to make sure that the team of engineers we have come from a diverse and different geographical backgrounds. We want to make sure that they are skilled and capable, and in building this ecosystem of people coming from different backgrounds, we are able then to help drive this ambition that we have, right? You heard Nabil what he mentioned. We have both a mixture of people today who have been in Nestlé for a long time, engineers who have been in Nestlé for a long time. At the same time, we want to have a mix of young engineers that come in, and together we create an ecosystem that can help us leverage on each other and build and drive this ambition that we have. The third pillar is about making sure that we have all our factories connected. So here we have an ambition of 300 plus of our factories to be connected. And when we say connected, this is going to be driven by three important pillars. You would have heard about this when Howard shared his the group objectives. Yeah, the first one is about connected workers. We want to make sure that our workforce is connected, that they can collaborate efficiently, and in collaborating, they can work towards value-adding activity rather than the manual activities that they do. In this regard, we also want to make sure that our processes are connected and that we can have better performance out of our processes because of machine learnings that we can put in place, and to have a better control of our overall processes using AI. The third pillar is then to make sure that we have also an end of product capability which is customized to consumer and customer needs. Our consumers and customers both have very varying needs. They need different type of configuration at different points so that they can serve the consumers better. And we need to make sure that our lines are adept at providing this. So if we move forward then and we try to look at the questions that we want to ask ourselves here, and in this I pose to Kamran from Indonesia on how does the market manage and drive digital strategies, and what's the role of the engineer here? So Kamran, maybe you can share what we do in Indonesia in this regard.
Yeah, thank you, Hutch. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and hello everyone who is joining us all over the world. So when we talk about managing digital in the market, believe me, it is equally interesting as it is managing digital at the center or strategically aligned. So, and even now, currently, I am sitting in one of our state-of-the-art factory, Karawang, in Indonesia. Yeah, and I'm fully connected on that. So, when we talk about how we are managing in the market, we definitely get an advantage of our global footprint. We know that they are best-in-class project repositories with which we can take the benefit and see how the world is going, and we can take things out of it, which not only tells us where we can tap in, but it also tells us what are the watch-outs. Now, this helps us saving a lot of time, yeah, and at the same time, doing things right first time. Yeah. So now this way, our engineers start getting connected with the global strategy. But now the real excitement comes when you have to adopt according to your local situation. Now, our engineers, especially the ones who are handling to the digital arena, they have to act like entrepreneurs. They have insight from the global footprint. At the same time, they need to fix the needs of the local factory. Now, these needs vary from factory to factory, and even within a factory with different product or technology groups, it gets changed. So now then they start implementing these solutions with the tailor-made approach. And of course, we have the panel of experts and forums available which guide them and make things easier and sometimes more challenging to them, because we still have to follow certain rules and certain timelines in this scenario. Now, the other thing which I see that to do this, our engineers, we have to empower them. Now they have this empowerment, full backing of the management that yes, new solutions, sometimes tailor-made, sometimes standard, things can go wrong, but let's try that. We do it in the best possible way. And at the same time, this empowerment cannot come without enablement. Now, how we enable them, some of my colleagues have touched upon that how globally we are doing it. Same approach is taken within the market. But here, as we see in detail, what particular need we have that we need to fulfill, take full benefit and advantage of digital out there. So there, not only online courses or online training programs, physical training programs, but at the same time, there are on-job trainings for which our expert partners who are leading in the industry on digital platforms, they join us and they guide our team. So that the sound of fulfillment comes on this side. So now, as many of my colleagues have already mentioned, the days of silos are gone. Now, for success, you have to collaborate. Yeah, and especially when it comes to digital, I will not go to the examples because I think they have already been mentioned. It touches everywhere. So when we talk about the leadership part, our engineer in the factories, they have to collaborate. They have to collaborate people who might be at a different level of understanding, might be a different age group, or might be having a different perspective. You might come across fellows who say that digital, I mean, what you're talking about is something maybe not worth or putting your time. But as one of our coaches, Rajesh Batra, mentions that educating our colleagues is part of our job. So we need to take this as an example that we go with full pride and then start talking to our colleagues that how we have to make it together. Because there is a saying, as you might all know, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go together. Now, Nestlé being here for more than 150 years, so we are definitely targeting to go far. So if I build my point, we are really looking for youth. And I'm sure many of our participants, I'll see them sometime in Nestlé with the right skill set. And that's why I also want to build on it. I have an interest in telling them that when we are discussing things and putting things in the market, we need young people, we need the skills, but at the same time, we need the maturity that respects inclusivity, yeah, and that has the empathy, yeah, that how we make sure that digital is not only for the sake of digital, it is making lives better. Those who understand and has at a high level, we connect quickly to them, and those who don't, then we need to talk to them, we need to discuss with them, and we need to show them that side that which we can see. And I'm sure with digital we have a better workplace, because when things get automated, your stress level goes down, your exertion level goes down, and ultimately your friends who have a different point of view, when you convince them with examples, when they see the benefit, and as the world has seen, who has ever imagined that as we've seen in the COVID time, things will not stop, and that was because of digital in terms of technical competence. At the same time, the leadership, the mindset, everyone change, everyone come together. So that's how I see Hutch at the market. The engineers have a key role and a key responsibility, because that I see as the building block. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamran. It was interesting that you mentioned how we have a global footprint, yeah, and we need to leverage on it, right? So we have repository of learnings, we have repository of sharings, of experiences that digital helps bind together, right? So at our fingertips, we can draw on these experiences, we can leverage on this experience and expand on them. Also, what was good was you mentioned about the collaboration, right? It's going to be an ecosystem of young people coming in, old people who need to understand the technologies, and how do we then bring them all together, right? We want to go far in Nestlé, and for this, we need to go together. So thank you, Kamran, for that. And with that, if we move on then to the other element that I mentioned in our key goals for the future was about sustainability, right? We will have a very important role to play here as engineers in sustainability. So the question here maybe for Christian from the Middle East market where he's from is, what does the digital factory of the future entail in terms of our environmental sustainability ambitions? And how does this fit with an engineer's role in a factory? Christian, over to you.
No, thank you very much, Hacha, for the question and for the opportunity, and thank you very much indeed also to all the people who is with us today. I think it's a very good question, because in a sense wrap up a little bit part of the discussion we have had today. And I think the starting point is definitely the fact that when we talk about environmental sustainability, we are not just thinking in the future, how are we going to do the things in the future better than today, but also ensuring that today, wherever we operate, we do respect the communities where our factories are, we do respect the environment where we operate today. So it's about both the future and about today. And how do we do that in our factories? How do we do that today? I think it's important to start by the right hierarchy of actions, which is normally to look for opportunities to reduce or to reuse before, for example, we go into further opportunities to recycle. On the other hand, and I'm trying to connect different things here, on the other hand, digital is about optimizing our factories, right? It's about making our people more autonomous. So in a sense, this digital factory of the future, it is certainly a more productive one. And when we do so, digital is indeed reducing waste of energy, waste of resources, waste of water, etc., etc. So when we put this together and we think about how engineers today are also a little bit different than they used to be, you know, because, for example, I like to see young engineers when we interact with them in our factories, or when we are also looking for additional collaboration in our factories. I like to see that these new generations are really born with a very strong understanding on the relevance of sustainability, not only for themselves, but also for the future generation. This is something that is not really, and I like it because it's not really a target or an ambition for them. It's a way of living, it's a way of thinking day by day. So it's very natural for them. And at the same time, this young generation bring with them this stronger than ever digital mindset. They are digital by design, by the current context and the world they are living in. So you can see that sustainability and digital goes naturally hand in hand for engineering. So we are very well equipped as engineers to actually take a lead role in both of them, in digital and in sustainability. In a sense, also, I would like to see always our factories, and this is something that we discuss a lot, especially with the younger engineers, that in a sense, our factories are a great playground for both, for digital and for sustainability, where engineers can really make things happen today, make things real, and to transform into concrete action their ambitions about sustainability and the future. Look at energy, just for example, where we have discussed today that digital can tell us how efficiently are we or are we not using an electrical motor. Or maybe even more, digital can also tell us well in advance when this electrical motor may fail. So we take preventive action well in advance, which is always more efficient than taking corrective action later on, you know. Or take water, for example, where in many of our factories, we do use water in the form of steam to carry energy, right? And digital can tell us how well are we or are we not recuperating the steam condensate to minimize the need to use fresh water we extract from deep wells. And this kind of example of this kind of action, who is actually behind that? Is engineers. You know, in MENA, in Nestlé Middle East and North Africa, you know very well, Haj, that we have more than 500 people behind this engineering community, supporting all our 24 factories. So we do have industrial services engineer who normally take care in our factories of the steam generation, refrigeration, compressed air, etc., etc. Or also we have our electricity and automation engineer who take care of the power of the factory, and as the name pointed out, also about ensuring the right level of automation across the value chain. We do also have among them maintenance engineer who are there to ensure that the lines are reliable and available whenever our consumers and customer really needs them. So digital is helping us definitely to take better decisions every day. And when we take better decisions, by doing so, we also make a better use of our resources. So we are doing a more sustainable operation by design.
Thank you, Christian, and thank you for sharing this this journey that you have in the Middle East. I liked the thought that you had that our factories are engineering playground, and so it is, right? We have a wide variety of engineers operating in different areas, and it's important in this ecosystem. You know, imagine if the young workforce that is coming on, as you said, they are more digital savvy. They live in a world that is so connected, and when they come in, they can accelerate this journey. At the same time, they bring with them a sense of social responsibility to the environment. And this together is where we can make a very effective and meaningful step forward. And so it's a company that will allow you to take these steps forward. Thank you for that, Christian. So with that, I think we've covered more or less just some sharings around what the role of an engineer is in Nestlé. And in this regard, what does that look like in terms of our ambition for the digital factory of the future. I'm sure there are many questions to address here, and from our audience. So maybe Yihong, I hand over to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Harsh, and all the engineers who are sharing very great insights with us. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm sure the rest are getting very good insights and questions are coming. Really a lot of questions that is in my hand now. Okay, so maybe the first question touches a little bit on soft skills. So what are the soft skills that an engineer at Nestlé should have, or qualities that should be possessed by someone considering career in engineering at Nestlé? Maybe I think Nabil, you can take that question. Cool.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Yihong. I'll take these questions. It's a very, very good question, and you know, if you have to go and read the books talking about soft skills, you will have an endless number of references that you will get lost. So let's make it very, very simple. There are some soft skills, what I call them a necessity. I will just mention few: communication skills, presentation skills, teamwork. These are for me a necessity, and I will not dwell too much, but these are for me as a must, whether you work in engineering or you work in marketing or you work in sales. These are skills that will help you to do your job better and to integrate better and to convey your knowledge, to convey your idea in the most efficient way. So those are skills that are for me the foundation. Now I will take the question into a little bit a higher notch, which might surprise some of our audience. Some of the skills, for example, is inspire others. And this might surprise some of your younger audience, but yeah, but that should be from top down, not bottom up. If I'm just a young engineer, just a fresh grad coming, absolutely not. Inspire others is a double way. And if you develop this kind of skill, which I call it a leadership skill, you can inspire your manager. You can inspire even the CEO of the company. By how? Showing your enthusiasm, showing your how you are being empowered, taking initiatives, taking the lead, putting initiatives on the table. And this is for me is how you could inspire others, or how you can inspire others. So this for me, I consider it as a for younger generation is a very, very good skill to learn. The other one is in the connected world that we are in, for a younger generation, teamwork is absolute a must. Now, teamwork in its own traditional way, I'm not going to talk about that one, but I'm going to talk about enabling results through others. So teamwork with the aim of enabling results or other. What are you going to do? How can you help others, whether they are your peers, your reportees, or your boss, to do their job better? If you can develop this skill and look at it from this angle, it will go a long way for you to in a very fruitful career with Nestlé. So I'll just leave you with these very two that can lead the way for you for the future. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Nabil. I'm sure they are appreciating that advice from you, and hopefully we can see them in Nestlé. Okay. So next question that we have is, in your opinion, what are the main benefits of digital technologies in the production environment, and what should we be careful about? I believe Kamran can get this question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's a wonderful question, because digital is, yes, it's a great opportunity, but at the same time, there's a challenge as well. When I talk about production, now, whenever you're producing and whatever you're producing, it's not only about food. Your target is to have a quality product with zero losses. Now, if you have a properly designed line, so from your raw material till your finished product, you can have barcode on each material, and you can track that, and you can even see how your lines are performing. Once there was a time when people used to come in the next day, what has happened last night. Now the apps are there on each one's mobile. While sitting in your home, you know how the line is running. Yeah. Now, so that target, that gives you more efficiency, that gives you more command. But at the same time, the challenge is the competence, the skill. Because if we don't have that skill, I mean, it's like that you have a Ferrari in your hand, but as you cannot drive, so things can get messed up. And God forbid, they can mess up big time. Yeah. So that's why I think in production environment, things have revolutionized, but the skills also need to be revolutionized with a similar pace. I hope I answered the question. Yeah, Hong, you are mute.
Thank you so much, Cameron. Yeah, I think the example give a very good reflection of the question, Thank you so much. All right, so we saw a question very directed to Christian. So how can us as an engineers be more sustainable in our day jobs?
Thank you very much for that question. I think we can take it for two different standpoints. Of course, the functional standpoint, we as engineers in Nestlé have a very, very relevant responsibility. We are in charge of very relevant resources of the company. Call it, for example, capital investment budget, where we have the possibility to really define and help the company to implement the most cost-effective and sustainable solutions. For example, when we need to increase capacity or when we need to deploy a new product that the customer needs or wants, right? So we are very well equipped to understand the implications of different technologies, and while we are able to put into the equation of taking the decision which way to take, to put the sustainability variable as well, they are clearly. It is certainly something that we have to do. It's not about what is the cheapest solution. It's not what is the most efficient, but also about what is the more sustainable solution for operate over the next 10, 20, 30 years, The same, for example, we are in charge of a very, very relevant and material, let's call it maintenance budget. So the way we do maintenance to ensure the reliability of our lines also, it's not about really the most or the cheaper spare part, but what is the total life cycle cost of this spare part? What is going to happen afterward? What kind of next step after use this spare part can have? So in a sense, we are very well equipped to put on the table different variables to enrich the decision-making process, because we cannot expect that our colleagues from marketing, for example, understand how easy to recycle is a different type of packaging, but we can help them to understand that. So when we decide, we just don't decide taking one or two different variables, but an holistic standpoint. And now, on the other hand, in a more personal standpoint, because I think the question was also a little bit on how to be more sustainable in our day-to-day job. Of course, I think today with all the tools we have, just as we have mentioned today, digital, we are very equipped as well to take better decisions in the sense to perhaps to really optimize the way we develop our solutions. Sometimes, and I think one of my colleagues told this today, it's not doing digital because of the sake of doing digital or because us as engineers, we love it to do it, but the reason why, so sometimes I think we have also an opportunity not to over-engineer our solutions. You see, because we talk about sustainability and resources. Every time we use a resource we could have saved, it is a more sustainable day-to-day job. So perhaps it's just an advice, perhaps also for the younger engineer, to keep it simple, and not to necessarily over-engineer, but engineer to a fit-to-purpose solution. Hope I answered the question.
Yeah, I think thank you so much, Christian. I think it's also working in a team, cross-functional team, to find the best way to engineer something or simplify a process, right, in a much better manner, and being business-centric as well as consumer-centric in the way we work. Right. Okay, so I have another few more questions. I think the time is good. so we can also pick up a few questions. So we're seeing this very interesting question. Allow me to take okay. How Nestlé is empowering mid-career engineers with integration of digitalization and cross-market career opportunities. I think Hutch, you can take it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I think it was an interesting question. We've spoken a lot about how the young engineers can bring a lot to the company. Yeah. Having said that, I think what we need to keep in mind in this regard is that experience is an important commodity for us. It's an important resource. We have many engineers who have been in this organization long enough. I am one of them, 28 years in this company. So obviously, we are coming from an era where digitalization was at an infancy to today, where it is at the maturity it is at. And I can imagine 10 years from now, it's going to be even more evolved, right? So I think the constant during this journey is going to be about the resource and the capability of the engineer, the experience the engineer brings. And I think that is going to be there. Now, how do we make these engineers apt to the reality that we currently have? Yeah. So we have today as well in the company many engineers with that kind of mid-career sort of prospects who are not today very attuned to digital. Kamran touched on it. How we try to leverage on the younger ones to build the knowledge of the older ones. Within the company as well, we have many programs that today are suited to help bring our engineers along in the journey, because they are our critical resource. So we want to build these engineers, even if they're coming from mid-career from outside. They are important because they come with a set of experience. We need to anchor this experience within our company to help us grow. But then we need to make this resource capable within the digital framework. And that's the role that we will have to play as a company, and we are doing today. So we are making sure that as we move forward, we are taking the whole community along and not just the digital savvy. The digital savvy will be very attuned to it, but for the rest, we need to bring them up to speed. And I must say that I think it has been a very interesting journey so far. I've seen many engineers who at one point in time would not even go near digital because of the fear of digital. Today are able to adapt to it. And coming to the other question that was raised about how then do we leverage this cross geography, right? Cross country, cross markets. Yes, we do, because I think what is very important is the experience that you bring. And this experience is what we want to leverage globally, not just within the country. Of course, there's a need within the country, but if that experience exists that we want to leverage globally, that's what we will do. Digital binds it together. Digital makes this easier to happen. But at the same time, we also want to then try to deploy people within the different geographies based on the expertise they bring, so that we can operate as a global company while existing within a specific geography. Yeah, I hope that answers a bit the question that was put forward.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hutch. I think we can see even many of our engineers here are cross-country. Even Kamran is in Indonesia, right? So I'm sure there is opportunity that we can leverage on. Yeah, thank you. So we have another question. What are your favorite things about being an engineer at Nestlé? Anyone's up to take this question?
Yeah, for me, it's innovation for sure. Nestlé is a company that never stops. As I mentioned earlier, 28 years or maybe a dinosaur if you look at the age-wise. But until today, I still feel like a young engineer. There's lots to learn, and I think that is the beauty of being an engineer in Nestlé today. You never stop learning, because it's a company that's hungry for knowledge, is hungry for innovation. And I think if you have a hunger for either one of these, it keeps you alive, it keeps you young. I'm not sure whether some of my other colleagues on the call, whether they want to share something, but I think it was interesting.
Yeah, Hutch, I think I fully agree to you, because when you know that someone is there to support you, when you are trying a new thing, things will go wrong. But they tell you in advance that, let's do it together. Let's have minimum damage or blunder. Of course, no one affords that. But yes, with the proper support infrastructure, when this leverage is given to you in new markets, in new cultures, as you mentioned that I'm sitting here in Indonesia from Pakistan, so someone trusted me. Yeah, and of course, when I learned, and then same is with all the colleagues. So I think none of us has the same nationality to the country we are sitting in. Now,
Exactly.
the company needs to have a heart to, entrust someone and then give this opportunity. So I think this is we enjoy the most here, this trust.
I think Pierre, something to share as well.
No, I think being an engineer at Nestlé, first, we are proud to make products that we are very happy to see in the shop. I have a chemical engineering background, and my schoolmates, they work in the chemical industry. They make gas, they make hydrogen, which is now fun, but it's not like having a Kit Kat in your hand and showing it to your children. Huh? And so that's the first thing. We are very proud to make products and show it to our families, and it's something we can identify with. The second thing for me, it's a bit special. In my career with Nestlé, I participated in the building of 2 greenfield factories. One of them being where Cameron is sitting today, Karawang factory. I was the project manager for this one, and I mean it's such a feeling to build something like this, which will stay with Nestlé for the next 40, 60 years. So it's it's super gratifying, of course, being an engineer at Nestlé. Huh?
Yay! Thank you so much for sharing. I think the sharing from you guys definitely inspire a lot of the participants to want to join us. So yeah, that's great. Maybe we can, so we have 5 minutes in time. So maybe we can take 1 or 2 more questions. Yeah, is that fine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have this very interesting question. I love that you all mentioned inclusivity. What values would you say to engineers from all levels to foster this? Yeah, I think Nabil is up for it.
Yeah, let me take this one, Yong.
Yes, sure.
I'll make it very simple as well, just to stick to when it comes to values, we should have some core values, and those core values should be very, very few. Otherwise, we will be lost in, so what should I focus on? If I have to advise the audience and the younger generations, working for Nestlé, if I have to pick only 2, it will be respect and fairness. Now, when it comes to the respect because it's fully aligned with the Nestlé core value, and respect to ourselves, to others, to the surroundings, to the environment, and to, because that value of respect, if we take it as the most important and the top of our values, it will touches everything, and this is what we should really focus on. Now, the other one is fairness. It's because you will have to deal with different people from different backgrounds. And you will have, as an engineer, you will have every day many challenges, be it on the shop floor or be it at the corporate level. And those challenges, you have to deal with them with a lot of fairness. And with this, not only you will encourage others to take the lead and really respect you as a person, but also you will enhance the trust of those people in you. And those people, be it your reportees or be it your managers. So I'll just leave you 2 to make it very simple. Thank you. You are mute, Ihong.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nabil. Anyone wants to add on any values? Because I think a lot of people who participate here can be also engineers who are just going to start out, right? Start out in their career with different companies, or even have opportunity to work with Nestlé. So maybe just anyone to touch on any last piece of advice for these young future engineers who are really keen to step into Nestlé's world, and what would that be on top of what Nabil has shared?
I think the values come from our Swiss roots. As everybody knows, Nestlé is originally from Switzerland, and of course the culture is a mix of many different cultures, as you can see now on the screen. We are all coming from different regions, but at the end, we have a strong foundation with this Swiss international culture, which is honesty, trust, openness, inclusivity, working, helping each other. Humility is important as well. We are a quite collaborative company, as we are not fighting each other. We're really working together in a continuous improvement spirit.
Yeah, I think that's important. What Pierre mentioned just now. Humility is very important. It's core to Nestlé. And Nestlé is not a company where we come into the company. All of us want to do well, but to do well in Nestlé, I think the interaction that you need to have with people around you, how you engage and collaborate with them, is what we do. right? As Kamran mentioned before, right? We want to go far and we want to go together, and that's, I think, very important about Nestlé. That's I think what sums it up as a value for Nestlé.
Great. I think all these advices are really valuable, and I'm sure that most of the people on the floor are inspired by the things that you all mentioned. And we are looking forward to seeing more young engineers coming to learn from all of you. I think we are hearing a lot of good comments coming in, and they are feeling really inspired by all of you. And they thank you for your time, for being here to share, what are the great things that you have experienced in Nestlé as an engineer and the role of an engineer, and how you love not just the company, but also the environment, being very sustainable in the activities that you are doing in the area of in the factory. Okay, so thank you so much, Haj, Nabil, Pierre, Christian, and Kamran, for your really, really great insights. And we really also want to thank those participants who spent some time here today with us, just to hear this from all of you. And we really hope that you enjoy and also learn some great insights from our industry experts here, and feeling inspired by all their sharings. So of course, not to forget, we are having another session coming up by Christian Smith and Marina Nagel, as they talk about engineering as a competitive advantage by leveraging digital technologies. So don't forget, do go to our chat box and click on the link so you can access directly to the next session. Or if you want to look at the agenda again, please feel free, and you can also access to the next session via the agenda page. Okay, so in any point of time, any of you might want to repeat or recap what they have shared, or even you missed out any other sessions previously, don't be panicked, because we have the recordings that will be out soon, so you can use it to recap. And I know that you guys have been sharing, I know the participants have been sharing a lot of comments on the chat on slido.com, but we also want to hear your thoughts sharing in LinkedIn. So please put on your thoughts in LinkedIn and tag us on Nest Level 2022. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. We really had a good session, and I hope you have a great day ahead, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Thank you.
Everyone, take care. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.